And now,
it's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Ben Anderson, David James, sticking around for the next segment. What's up, DJ?
I think there's a lot of things going on in the world of your Utah Jazz. I think you and I are about to just go Jazz nonstop. Let's do it.
Yeah, this was a very busy morning for the Utah Jazz. And Chandler Holt, who does the Jazz Notes podcast with me, as well as David James. Chandler's going to come in from 11 to 12, so excited to have a...
So you have a podcast up every Monday and every Thursday. With different tag team partners.
And then we talk Jazz basketball with Jake every day.
And people can get it on YouTube and KSLSports.com.
Whatever you're looking for.
Apple, Spotify, it's everywhere.
We have it for you.
And go.
So, big news today, big news this morning. Chris Haynes broke the news, did some background, and kind of got some information on it as well. Jaren Jackson Jr. is undergoing surgery on his knee to remove what is essentially a tumor, a benign tumor on his knee called PVNS, to make sure it doesn't grow, continue to grow and get worse, because it is something, I guess, that will just continue to grow and grow and grow, which can cause discomfort. It is not... In my understanding, and this always changes. You go into the knife, it's always a risk. Look at Grant Hill's career, got derailed by bad surgeries. It's happened before. Penny Hardaway, I think, had foot issues based on a bad surgery, etc. You never want to go into the knife if you don't have to. I did not get the impression in my conversations today that this was a enormous concern, and if it was, I don't think he would have played 3 games for the Jazz before he had it done.
It sounds like, and what do I know about medicine? I went to UC Santa Barbara. But it sounds like this is roughly equivalent of getting some type of quote-unquote minor cartilage surgery.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing, they'll do it. He'll need time to rehab. I don't know where it is in the knee, how deep in they're going, how close it is to the surface. But you get your 4 to 6 to 8 weeks to bounce back from whatever it is, depending on how big the tumor is and where exactly it is inside the knee and how much digging they have to do. But then it sounds like you ought to be okay.
Chris Haynes, who did report it, kind of initially, and some of the news out there is that the expectation is that Jaren Jackson Jr. will be out for the season. I was informed that that's yet to be determined.
Oh, really?
So
if it is on that shorter end, he could be back.
But using our brains, I would say that's probably not likely. Understanding that after the All-Star break, and he's going to get the surgery next week, after the All-Star break, there's going to be less than 2 months left in the season. I think the Jazz's final game of the year is April 13th, so that's 2 months from tomorrow. If it is 6 weeks and he doesn't get the surgery till next week, now you're at 7 weeks and now there's 1 or 2 weeks left in the season. And why would you bring him back, especially when the Jazz certainly have no interest in winning games?
You have the surgery, you have the hall pass, shut him down for the year.
Yeah.
But I remember in the Dennis Lindsay era, they had a couple players who had to have surgery later and then they referred to lost summers. And it doesn't sound like, and I guess we'll have to wait to the other side of surgery and see what they say, but it doesn't sound like that's going to be the case.
No, it doesn't. And it does make sense. I was talking to Jaren, not off the record, but kind of just off to the side after the game last night and trying to figure out what his all-star plans were. And, are you looking for a home? And he joked with me that he was living in Lowry Markkinen's guest room, and that's obviously not true, but he said that's where he's been living. And he wouldn't give me an answer about what he was doing during the all-star break. And that makes
because it was surgery, and he didn't want to tell you.
And he was not going to reveal that to me. It is also why you have to go and talk to guys, though, during it. Maybe he would have told me.
Yeah,
you just never know. This is my first time I ever met him. I get why he did. But, so, yes, I don't get the impression, if Jazz fans see knee surgery, that this is, the Jazz got, the short end of the stick
damaged
from
goods
Memphis.
And, the short end of the stick,
and then Memphis knew they were getting rid of somebody that was going to be, toxic going forward or unplayable going forward. In fact, my big question now, and I was not able to get an answer on this in any conversations, was the Jazz say they found this in the physical. I've got no reason not to believe them. And actually the reason I kind of have no reason not to believe them is that if Jaren was going to miss the rest of the year with the surgery, couldn't Memphis have just held on to him, tanked, traded Ja Morant this offseason, and still had their 26-year-old all-star to leap or jumpstart their rebuild with whoever their draft pick is this year?
Well, I can't really speak to what Memphis is doing and why they are doing it. I was a little surprised when the Jazz made the trade. I happened to be driving around listening to you and Jake, and I heard it when it broke, literally, and I could hear the surprise in your voice. And I remember thinking, I did not see that coming, and I feel better about myself because Ben didn't see it coming either. So we both talked to people, and we didn't see it coming. I'm not 100% sure why Memphis wanted to do it, but I'm sure they had their reasons,
Absolutely.
He signed. I don't get it. I don't see the downside. I do get that, hey, we're breaking up this group and we're starting over. There are
like
people
a total start over.
Well, that to me, because I think you're right. I mean, when they can find a taker for Ja, he will go. And they got 3 draft picks. Now, I've heard a lot of debate from people who I don't think have a foot in either camp. I'm always careful. Like I'm here and I'm, seeing things through my purple glasses or my green glasses or whatever. Well, no, it's more me that the built-in bias we don't realize we have, but that we inevitably have to have, right? I have way more information about the Jazz than I have about Memphis. And I did think, well, they want these 3 draft picks, but there were people analyzing the trade who said, hey, the Jazz have already done their homework on the 27 draft. It's not nearly as good as these last 3 drafts. This is not a great trade for Memphis. Well, why is Memphis doing this? And maybe Memphis just made a bad move. Maybe Memphis is looking at some of the Jazz young guys and thinking, we're doing a rebuild. We can get multiple guys, multiple picks. That 31 pick, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
And maybe that pick might be traded 3 or 4 more times before someone finally uses it in 2031.
Yep.
Who's to say? And maybe they'll get somebody good in 27. Even in bad drafts, there's occasionally good players.
Yeah, Giannis came out of the worst draft of all time. Rudy Gobert came out of the worst draft of all time.
Yeah, I do wonder why they did it. I'm not 100% clear on that.
The one thing Memphis has done consistently well, not to reanalyze what happened last week because we can talk about the knee surgery and what that means for the Jazz the rest of the season, is that Memphis has consistently hit grand slams with their draft picks. Not just singles, doubles, home runs, like grand slams. They find Desmond Bane at the end of the first round.
Get 3 picks and you got to restart, and they're figuring how long it's going to take, and they're looking at his age, and they're just thinking, so I don't know that the knee surgery in half a season would play into whatever they were weighing. I mean, from a distance, I did assume it's a total teardown. They'd rather have the picks, that he's going to be a lot younger than the guys, or a lot older than the guys are going to bring it in, and then it makes it hard to tank. I mean, we're seeing with the Jazz. It's great the Jazz got Markkanen, but it's made rebuilding difficult, and it's why they're picking, in an 8, 9, 10 slot instead of picking in a 2, 3, 4, 5 slot.
Absolutely. No question about it. And
it's been hard to hide him. And I think it's why they've taken so much heat in the last couple of days, whereas the Wizards and the Kings are both clearly tanking, are taking little to no heat because people accept, well, they're just terrible. But the Jazz are actually pretty good and have Markkanen. And so, they're standing up a little taller. They're a little easier to see what's going on.
Jazz slowly lowered themselves into the boiling water and last year hit the peak. Last year they finally only won 17 games. Again, if you go back and just look at their record at the trade deadline, the first 2 years of this rebuild, 2022-23, 2023-24, I think the Jazz the first year were 26-27. And the year after that were like 23-25.
10-3 that first year.
Yeah.
It's like, where's the rebuild? These guys, and Danny Ainge has asked about it. I'm pleasantly surprised and privately horrified.
Yeah, mortified by what's happening here. So this does obviously serve the purpose for the Jazz, though, that now sitting on 18 wins, they have eclipsed their win total last year.
Yes, they have, but I don't know that this does serve the purpose, but I don't think it completely serves the purpose. I think they've got to sit.
Well, Lowry's going to sit a bunch.
Yes, but I think they got to sit more people than that.
I think Keontae's going to sit a bunch.
Nurkic has got to sit a bunch.
Yeah, Nurkic has got to sit a bunch.
I'm not past, and I wasn't joking when I tweeted it out. I know tone doesn't come across in a printed word, but they have to consider sitting 8 guys. Now, maybe they don't need to sit them all at the same time, but Sacramento sat 6 of their top 7 scorers. It was not an accident. They didn't need to do that. But I think the Jazz need to think like that. I don't know that with these watered-down teams, with people not playing hard because they're getting ready for the playoffs, or people not playing hard because they're tanking, plus they've got 6 games against teams that are just atrocious. Like Isaiah Collier will win games. Ace Bailey will win games.
Yeah.
Bryce Sensabaugh can win games. So I think they have to think about that. I think honestly, they need to look at sitting their top 8, and I think Harkless needs to play.
I don't know if you're going to see Lowry Markkanen at home anymore.
I get that.
Because you don't have to.
He
doesn't have to.
Hey, listen, everybody's gone through 3.5 years of this. Don't bail out on me with 27 games left.
It's actually
like, stay committed here, people.
For all the nonsense that we've heard from Bobby Marks and now Brian Windhorst yesterday, and just talking about how egregious and unfathomable what the Jazz
it's totally
are doing. Yeah, I totally get it. In a sense, as silly as this is, you do owe it to your fans now, if you put them through 3.5 seasons of hell, to not pull the ripcord right as you're about to get the best pick in the best draft.
I don't mind the Jazz being criticized for what they're doing.
Sure.
You can blast the Jazz all day long, but don't blast just them. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, of course.
Look what's going on around the league. And I don't see how playing somebody 20 to 25 to 27 minutes and then tanking, how is that worse than playing somebody 0 minutes and tanking?
Well, yeah, what's a better experience? If you were in Miami, that you got to see Jaren Jackson and Lauri Markkanen play, or that now you don't get to see Jaren Jackson Jr. play? What's a better experience? I mean, if you say it's just him sitting, because I think that makes it more authentic that the Jazz are bad at basketball, that's fine. That can be your opinion. But if you're a 12-year-old who just likes the NBA and knows the 10 biggest stars or the 25 biggest stars, and you go see the player,
jersey you have and who you love,
then you got to see your player, and now you don't get to see him. So, yes, the Jazz the rest of the way have some huge games. The 3 biggest will be against New Orleans. 2 of those are at home coming up on the 26th and the 28th. That actually is advantageous. I know you would think, oh, no, you want to play them on the road. The problem with having both Jaren and Lauri Markkanen is they were having to abide by the player participation policy because they're all-stars.
Boom.
And
once you're an all-star,
rest 2 all-stars in the same game, even if you're at home. Well, now you're not resting Jaren Jackson Jr. He's out with an injury.
Yeah.
You are allowed to rest Lauri at home as need be, meaning every home game you can rest Lauri if you want to, and I strongly suspect that's what you're going to see for the most part. Does that mean of the Jazz's final 15 home games, or however many there are, they're not going to see him at all? I doubt that. But the games that the Jazz want to lose, including tonight against Portland,
I'm just going to say, though,
I would be surprised if we see him.
If he plays 0 home games, I'm not going to complain. Not a peep out of me.
Yeah.
Other people may complain.
Sure.
But I honestly, they put everybody through 3.5 years of this. Well, you can't even say what it is. We all know what it is, but the FCC still has rules.
Yeah.
There's very few rules left, but that's one of them. I can't say some of these
You can
words.
say it's hell. It's been hell.
That was
You're
a
a Jazz
masterpiece of dog shit.
Yes. Thank you. Well done. Chicho. Way to go, Christian. Yes. So
Sorry I don't call you Chicho.
that was a PK nickname when Chicho was here.
Yeah.
Chicho Ranga is playing for and Pablo came on. Pablo Mastriani, the head coach, and Chicho was filling in, and PK dropped that, and Pablo just about dropped the phone. He thought that was just about the funniest thing. So even though the players moved on twice now, San Jose don't want him either. Go on, move along.
But yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of the depths of the rotation for the Utah Jazz. I think you're going to see a lot of how they've closed games, and that means Isaiah Collier.
I just don't think that's enough. I think these guys are too good. They've been getting better.
They have been.
And now the league around them is getting worse. And I think it's going to equal wins. It already has once. Now, they only had to play the fourth quarter. They could make them play the whole second half. They can play the whole game. They got to play the Wizards twice.
Sure.
I think
those are the games you're going to see.
I think Collier and Bailey and Sensabaugh can go out there and take it to the Wizards.
Yeah, they can.
Not just win the game, win it convincingly.
Yeah, they can, especially if you're playing teams like you saw from Sacramento last night,
Sacramento
which has
was
nobody.
bad, and then they sat literally everybody anybody had ever heard of, except for DeRozan.
But the Jazz now have the ability to do that.
Do you think that DeRozan has some kind of bonus stat he's trying to hit? Or, because they can have it for games played, and I don't know his contract, I haven't looked. Or do you think he pissed somebody off in the organization and they're making him play, and everybody else gets to take the game off?
DeMar is a weird person in a great way. He's really beloved. Every coach who's ever worked with him, including Will Hardy, just raves about him as a person.
So maybe he just wants to play.
I just think he likes basketball.
I just want to play.
Yeah, I like
There's
basketball.
There's a game. There's people.
Yeah.
Let's play. Let's make
go
a
play.
move
This
on.
is what I want to do.
I want to hit some shots.
I think that's part of it.
That's what it is?
I think
okay.
he just likes playing
Because
basketball.
I thought it was really odd. Big 6 guys out.
Yeah.
He's playing. I was looking at their leading scores. Of their top 8 scorers, they sat 6. They traded 1. And DeRozan.
Yeah. It's a little bit of, Colin Sexton. You couldn't get Colin Sexton off the floor.
Yeah.
Just wired. Some of these guys just want to play. And so they'll say,
Well,
we're not
we
going to win
complain
with
about
you.
the guys who don't want to play. Let's
Yeah, of
not
course.
complain about the guys who do want to play.
I applaud every veteran who wants to play in games for the worst team in basketball, who's on a 14-game losing streak and has to own it and has to talk to the media after. If you play, you have to talk to the media after if the media requests you. And, of course, that's who they're going to want to talk to because he's the star on the team that's available. So I do definitely tip my cap to DeMar. Yes, now without Jaren Jackson Jr., the Jazz make it a lot easier on themselves to tank And yes, they're going to play a lot of the young guys. And then, yes, they will start playing the Blake Hinsons, the Oscar Tshiebwes, and the Elijah Harklesses of the world, I would imagine.
Blake Hinson. Let's go, Blake.
Yeah.
Let's go, Blake. I'm curious what you think of the two other guys that got in the trade with John Conchar and Vince Williams Jr. As you try to plot going forward, and there's going to be a draft pick and who knows what moves this summer, there's a chance those guys are rotation guys and help them, especially in a league where I think now you used to look at 8-man rotations, and now you're resting people and back-to-backs and guys get hurt. You better be planning on playing 10 or 11 guys over the course of a season. Doesn't mean they'll play every night, but they got to be ready to play on the nights they're needed. Have they found a little something there? I don't want to oversell it, but have they found a little something in either one of those guys? What do you think?
I need to do some background on this.
Sure,
and I tried to last night, and I honestly just didn't have time and the right opportunities to ask people. But I want to know, did the Jazz request Vince Williams Jr. and John Conchar in the trade, or did Memphis say you have to take these players because they're going to help us win games late? And it may have been a little bit of A, a little bit of column B. So that's what I'm trying to find some background on. I definitely think that's what falls under the category of pre-agency, which is you go into the offseason with money and you have to go chase these guys on the open market, or you can trade for them before you get to that point, and then you're not competing with anybody to, see the price go up. So I think this is a great opportunity to audition these guys. John Conchar is under contract next year. And while I will just say I have not seen it through the first 3 games of why he plays. If you look at the last 7 seasons, he plays every game for the Memphis Grizzlies. And the Memphis Grizzlies are making the playoffs most of those years. So why do they like him so much? I haven't seen it through the first 3 games, but clearly coaches see something that that guy has to be on the floor. He helps us win.
I think he plays hard.
He does play hard.
And I think
absolutely.
that alone could be it. I don't think, to your point, I don't think there's anything from a talent perspective, but it sounds like a cop-out, and they're making so much money, and they fly on charters, and I get all of that, but it's still to bring the energy on a night you don't feel like bringing the energy, not everyone can do that. And if he can, I mean, we've already seen Will Hardy snap because a very talented player didn't rotate on defense. Period, end of story.
Yeah.
It's a pick and roll. They didn't defend a pick and roll the game before. Will was at his wit's end. They start the next game. There's an easy layup and dunk, and Will's calling timeout. I'd have to look 2 or 3 possessions into the game in a minute or 2. And it was Lowry.
Yeah.
Lowry didn't rotate.
Yeah.
Now, also, I don't think the first 2 guys covered themselves in glory with the way, so it's never one person, right? So whether he's the help defender or he's one of the 2 guys, could you slow that thing down a little bit so the guy who's rotating has time to get there?
Yeah.
Not just to be the wet paper towel out there, they just blow right through. So if Conchar can bring that and just basic level skill across the board, maybe that's worth it.
I do wonder if some of his value, though, was because I do believe there has been some chaos in Memphis behind the scenes with Ja, obviously. And I do wonder if John Conchar was an adult in a room that desperately needed adults, and that was his value. And I wonder if that's as necessary in Utah. The answer may be yes. I honestly just don't know.
Could be
Vince Williams Jr., absolutely. $2.5 million, really good defensive player, has some real playmaking chops, rebounds, doesn't need to shoot, but has made some shots in Utah. Hasn't historically made shots.
Right.
Has made shots the last couple of games, and if he can make those.
Long, athletic, rebound. Yeah. Another guy who seems to play with energy. And it's hard to judge that now, I know, with either one of these guys.
Sure. That's always been his reputation, though. Yes, he
right.
plays.
It has been his rep, and we've only seen 3 games. And maybe we're getting the best version of both these guys because they're trying to make, you're trying to make a good impression in a new place. Any of us, when we start a new job, would do that.
The hard part for Conchar and Williams, or what I think will allow them to stick around, is do you do something on the team that nobody else does? I don't know if Conchar does. I know Vince Williams does because he can defend in the backcourt, and Keontae can't, and Isaiah Collier can't, and they don't have another point guard.
So the fit and the need works out there.
With excellent
size. I see where you're going with that.
So, yeah, I think that's going to be his positive.
All right, DJ, and also you can just have enough. You never have enough players.
Yeah.
Maybe you just have to keep them because there's going to be a deal at the next trade deadline of the players you can put in, and the other team will think, hey, they're not great, but they're NBA guys.
Yep.
They're NBA rotation guys. And if no other reason, you keep them around for that.
Yep.
Maybe they got a little something. All right.
Jake and Ben, it's David James filling in. He tried to close the segment, but I wrestled it back from him.
Don't do that. You're going to make me say something. I'm trying to just sit here.
Top 3 stories in KSL Sports coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5. Thanks, DJ. The KSL Sports Zone.